This Friday night in Albany at the Washington Avenue Armory, scheduled to be on hand a double main event. Pedro Morales, some kind of looking forward to returning to the state capitol. And Pedro will be squaring off against Killer Kowalski, #1 protege of the Grand Wizard of Wrestling, and the Grand Wizard himself has assured us that he will be right there at ringside. No doubt that an extraordinary main event, but there is yet another main event involving the Valiant Brothers, the tag team champions of the world. Handsome Jim, Brother Luscious John, along with Lou Albano, and the Valiants will be taking on a very capable combination indeed. That of the Rookie of the Year, Larry Zbyszko, and his partner, the best kind you can have, the pride of Paul Huska, Chief Jay Strongbow. And right now, let's bring on Larry Zbyszko and talk about the match coming up this Friday night. Larry, are you ready for it?
Vince, Chief couldn't make it here today, but I talked to him on the telephone. He wanted me to make sure that I say to you and to all the fans out there at home that he, especially himself, has never been ready more for a match than he is going to be ready for the Valiant Brothers in Albany. Chief and I, we talk a lot about the match. Of course, we always watch the Valiant Brothers whenever we can. And Chief also asked me to say that this Friday night in Albany, he would like nothing more than to humiliate Lou Albano in the capital of New York State, which means that this Friday night, the Chief and I are very, very confident that we're going to walk out with the Tag Team Heavyweight Championship belts of the world. And speaking for myself, I could think at this stage of my career, no greater thrill to me than to be able to walk out with the belts, especially from someone like the Valiant Brothers. I don't think that the belts around their waist does professional wrestling any credit, any justice, any good at all. I don't like it.
Well, a lot of people agree with you, Larry. There's no doubt about that. And, of course, a lot of people agree with you on your feelings and also Jay Strongbow's feelings of Lou Albano, which brings up a very interesting point. Lou Albano will be there this Friday night.
Well, there's nothing much I can do about Lou Albano being in Albany, but I hope for Lou Albano's sake that he doesn't try to get in the ring, because Chief and I will be ready for that also.
Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Larry Zbyszko, ready for action. So is Chief Jay Strongbow. The only other question is whether or not the Valiant Brothers are ready for action. And right now, let's bring on the Grand Wizard of Wrestling and talk about the match that Pedro Morales will have against Killer Kowalski.
McMahon, Killer Kowalski is a name that is known across the entire continent, throughout the entire world. And every time you mention the name of Killer Kowalski, you bring fear into the hearts of his opponent. The only reason there's no fear in the heart of his opponent here in Albany is Pedro Morales doesn't have a heart or a brain. He's just a stupid little greaser that came over here from Puerto Rico, got delusions of grandeur, and then he must have been listening to somebody or dreaming when he, Morales, thought that he could get in the ring in Albany with the likes of Killer Kowalski. Well, you, Morales, you're going to learn a lesson in Albany that you'll never forget. Your short, illustrious, not really illustrious, your short career will be ended. Ended on a high note, because Kowalski is the man who will put you out of wrestling forever and ever.
Extremely confident Grand Wizard of Wrestling and confident that Killer Kowalski will defeat Pedro Morales in Albany. All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring on Lou Albano, the captain of the Valiant Brothers, the tag team champions of the
brother,
world.
We're running into a little trouble here. I'm going to tell you why. Bruno Sammartino broke this young punk in, this Larry Zbyszko, and he wasn't able to handle him or put anything in that thick head because the kid is kind of dense. He's kind of slow on picking up. He can't pick up. He can't move well. You understand what I'm talking about? Now you got Jay Strongbow in there, and brother, you got real troubles because he's also not to be known not to be dealing with a full deck. Man is missing about 12 cards. So therefore, the team can't work together. They can't play together. They can't work together. Well, baby, they can't cut it together. Now you're up against Unity, Poetry in Motion, the world champion. You see, you know what this means? You stand there like a dummy. Do you know what this means? You know what that belt means? It means you're the best. It means you're #1. It means you ain't trying harder. You have already been there. You are #1, brother. And while that's on there, they're #1. They're here today, and they'll be here.
Don't miss it this Friday night in Albany.